video for you here today from Shepherd's Song Farm. Today I'm going to show you how to trim a leg of lamb or goat into roasts, because there's a lot more that you can do with whole legs than just cook them in the oven. So we're going to take this and make it into all of these different pieces, as well as all of these different things, stock bones, a little bit of trim, things you can use for stir fry. There's all kinds of good stuff in here. The first thing you're going to want to do is take your leg of lamb or goat out of the vacuum sealed package. And some people, I should say, some chefs may like to use slightly frozen meat. Not fully frozen, because that's not good for your knives, but just slightly frozen, which will make it a little bit easier for the knife to go through. That's kind of personal preference. But you're going to want to dry the leg off pretty well. I just have some paper towels here, that's fine. And then the first thing we're going to do is, after I dry it off, I'm going to try to find where the seam is. We're going to be following seams here, which is all these different muscles in the leg. I like to find the seam right by where the femur is. So you see where those muscles connect there? That is where I'm going to make my first cut. So I'm just going to go right down. It's kind of like paint by numbers a little bit. You're going to follow the natural lines going down to the femur. And then I'm just going to work to kind of expose the bone. And that's really the first trick. This can kind of be intimidating for people to cut up a whole leg, but it's really not that bad. And once you see what you can get out of it, I think you'll really like it. So you just keep following and exposing the bone. Now here you want to use gravity and just kind of bend that bone back and remove it. Next is trimming the muscles into roasts. So here, some people will say that, some chefs may really meticulously trim these. We're going to do kind of a hybrid method that I might use at home. You don't have to trim all the silver skin off completely, but this piece you see in the middle, that kind of flappy sheet of silver skin, that is the most important thing to take off, because that is not, some silver skin is going to break down as it cooks. This piece I'm trimming here, this is not going to break down. So this is the one you really want to pay attention to remove it. That's a tri-tip steak. It's kind of small on a lamb or a goat, but that's kind of a fun one. Because all the different muscles in, say, a leg of beef you're going to have in a leg of lamb or goat, they're just going to be smaller. And here you can see I'm just following the seam because there's two muscles connected here. So that is the eye round up there. I'm just going to trim this guy up a little bit. I'll take a little bit of that silver skin off. And again, all of that is really good for stock. But this is the bottom round here. And this will take, you can see there's some connective tissue and fat on the top. I'm going to go ahead and remove that. You could cook it with it on, but it might be a little chewy. It wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. What we'll do here is, that's that seam, another seam there. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that, and then I'll just trim the top up a little bit again. Like I said, you don't have to do that. This doesn't have to be perfect. As you can see, I'm being a little rough on these two. And the other little part there on the left is called the gooseneck, which is kind of a nice little hidden treat in there. I really like cooking that, just like a little steak. Next is the top sirloin. So this is going to have a little cap on it. And this would actually be called the cap or the culotte steak, which is very good on beef, but it needs some trimming. So it's not that great for cooking as a steak from lamb or goat. It's very, very thin. So that is going to be good for soup and stock. or ground meat and things like that. So I'm going to take that off. Now we're going to have 2 more mussels. This is probably my favorite roast out of the leg right here. This is a really nice cut. This is your top sirloin. And you can see I'm using my hands a little bit too, just to kind of help spread things apart where I can. And I'll just clean them up a little bit where I can. Just, again, following those seams. Anything that doesn't have lots of connective tissue on it will go right into the soup pile. This is the sirloin tip, also known as the football roast. If you know a hunter, they will know exactly what a football roast is. It's usually what it's referred to in venison. Also, the round steak is another name, typically used with beef, at least that I know. And this takes some trimming. This has a lot of connective tissue on it. And again, you could just have left it and not trimmed it. This part I do like to take off a little bit on the sides, the silver skin. But you could just take this whole thing and brine it and smoke it, and it might be, it will make a good ham. If you wanted, you could also just take the whole thing and dice it up and use it for soup or stew, because the silver skin on this will actually break down as if you slow cook it. But it doesn't have to be perfect. So here we go. A whole bunch of different roasts all coming out of the leg. And then we got a great soup bone, some trim for stir fry and stock, and then a little tri-tip, which I'll probably have as a snack. And more stuff like this at the Shepherd Song website. And I am your narrating host, Chef Alan Burgo. Thanks for watching. And if you like this, you're going to want to tune in to our next video where I show you how to cook lamb roasts like a pro.